you happen to be here, let me know. Hold up. Not how I like to start my videos, but forgive me. Oh, cold is real. Anyway, I'm here now. Had to get some stuff straight. See if anybody is out there. Hope you're doing good. Hope your Sunday's going good. Now, next Sunday is going to be a different ball game with the Super Bowl, but we're here live right now. And I usually just trying my luck to see if anybody's out there. So if you're out there, let me know. If you can hear me, give me the thumbs up. And if you want to talk, start talking. Let's do it. Hope the weather's going good where you are. Hope you had a good day so far. Hope everything's all right. A lot of topics to talk about. I was still talking. What's up? What's up? If you can hear me, start asking questions. I'm up here now. I know about yesterday. There was something dysfunctional going on, but I should be good today because I missed that chat last night. So holla, holla, holla if you can hear me. And if you got questions, hit me up. I talked about Carl Weathers. I had a good chance to talk about it today too. Yeah. Ted, I needed that. I needed that. That's what I think about. Oh, soft, tender, go bird, go bird, bird and Ernie. You ain't see. He choked him out. No one is really feeling sorry for Goldberg. They don't like him. As much as they hate Draymond, they don't like a sniveling hound like Goldberg. He whack. And Draymond probably had a couple of cats put some money. Rudy soft serve sherbet. Yeah. Yeah, I go with that. What's that? And you know that sherbet, yeah, Gobert. Yeah, I call him like that Gobert, that one that you push in the capsule. Yeah, he's soft. Oh guys, he's soft and cries and moans. I, I had a buddy of mine. He asked me, he said, well, he's got 3 defensive player of the years, just like Dwight Howard. I said, that's all they got in common. No one buys him. As a matter of fact, that he got traded from Utah. I'm like, how did they get all that for him? Him? That's still one of the funniest. I'm like, you got suckered to get him off of you. Mm. Yeah, he's soft serve. He cried. He one of them cats that well, I like Teardrop Tony because Teardrop Tony would drop them little teardrops over you. Teardrop Tony was legit. The only thing we used to call him Frenchie. The only thing with Frenchie is that sometimes he'd push the ball too much, get himself too deep in the pocket when he was pushing up the rock. That's why Ginobili kind of took over for him. But Teardrop Tony, Frenchie was cool. Frenchie was cool. You mean he's all star, Hall of Famer. You know, you don't have no problem with Frenchie. The Frenchman was actually legit. You know, he could play. He was, you know, he was legit. He was legit. He could ball. I like Frenchie. But those soft Rudy, no, we don't mess with those soft Rudy. No. Mm-mm. And then what was it? Goldberg had the nerve to say he could have hung out with said he'd been hang with Shaq. So stay tuned for my video. It should be up by probably after midnight. I addressed that. But I will give you a sneak peek what I said. It's not a bad move. Let me tell you what my inner sources say, not sources. My unlike Bruce Broussard, my inner sources say. This is to get Dolan out. Let me tell you something. So James Dolan is racist trash, bigot, sexist trash, right? Methinks, and if LeBron is half as woke as he pretends to be and portrays to be, yeah, I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Let me tell you what I did already with the LeBron video because I'm gonna address it right. You're gonna get the world premiere because it's coming. It's still streaming up on my other phone, and it'll be coming out in a few hours, and you'll see what I said. I said it's a smart move because that's the end of Dolan. And they moved LeBron strategically to New York, Adam Silver, power play. Then you get Charles Oakley maybe back as a VP or something. My thinking is they want LeBron as a owner because you got to remember his career is almost over. I mean, he can't play more than a couple more years. He can't. I give him probably one more legit, but if he get hurt, he on the last side of his career. But my thinking, they bring LeBron in, they clean house with Dolan. Then they attract a superstar to New York because they need that to get Dolan out. And Dolan will take the money and go. My other plan B was he's going to Vegas, maybe team with Shaq and be an owner to get Bronny in. See, either way, I think it's about an ownership move. They trying to make LeBron cash it in. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's an ownership move to New York or to Vegas. I did my video. It'll be coming out. I addressed that. See, I didn't look at it like other people did. If he's going to New York to play, they ain't winning nothing. He too old right now. He better fit than what they got. But they're not beating. They're not better than Milwaukee or them teams on a night basis. But he comes back as an owner. Yeah, I had to address Magic because that mess with getting Dan Quinn is that's what you don't become the first black owner, and that's all you get out of it. A rethread. That's a rethread. No. Oh, it did. And I'm gonna tell you something. The NBA is long on memory because Dolan has not attracted a top tier superstar. Now we didn't see Brunson coming out like this. Julius Randle was always in that really good, could be very good. But Brunson got a chance to be something. But the thing is, they need to attract a marquee dude. So if they make this pitch the way I think it's going to go down, you heard it here first. I'm proclaiming ownership. I don't think this is just a basketball move. I think this is a bigger picture move. So I think LeBron will go there for ownership. I don't think he goes there just to be a player. Because if that's what he's doing at this stage of his career, he would do himself a disservice. They're not going to win with him. And he sure as heck ain't going to be coached by Tibbs. But as an owner, he gets out of LA, maybe play another year. That's it. Give him ownership by he's 40. That's what I see. Well, Magic is bought and paid for. You know, I love Magic as a player, but he was bought and paid for. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. But see, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than that. Well, a lot of these cats growing up on him. He's been around forever and a day now. But me thinks Adam Silver there's an agenda here. This ain't just this would be big. This would be big. And I do say one thing, Stephen A. Smith was right about one thing. If he did go to New York and he won, he wouldn't shut people up. You think it's bad now, it'd be bigger. But I think he's going to get ownership. I think it's an ownership move. That's what I think it is. If I'm wrong, I won't touch no more LeBron James does. But I'd like to think I got receipts on this one because this is the only logistic move to go to New York for. He ain't 29. He ain't 34. He's on the and you can see the decline in his career. He has some nights where he moves around, can score, but he can't carry no team. They are their record. Winning New York would make him seem like Babe Ruth. Are you kidding? Because it goes beyond that. But it will never move me. It won't move me because I'm not hoodwinked by that. It helps in certain people who want to romanticize it. But and if I'm honest with you, the East ain't that deep. It's tougher in the West than it is in the East. He ain't beating Denver. They got to play them this week, but I don't see them beating Denver in no 5-7 game series. Of course, he'd want Tibbs fired because Tibbs is everything he don't like in a coach. Tibbs is demanding, frustrating. He's a problem on offense. He's the worst coach you can have as an offensive-minded player. Brunson just happened to fall in his lap. He really didn't have that coming. He's never gotten his offense sets right. It helps his case as far as sensationalized story, yeah. But you gotta remember, if you play for 50, 11 different teams, you bound to get a ring with someone. He is a snake. I saw it. Because the way he did Derrick Rose, I ain't never forgot it. You know. But he keeps getting jobs because he can coach and the Doc Rivers Association, but he ain't won nothing. Not as a head coach. All he did was leave a lot of sore behinds out between Chicago, Minnesota. Now we're gonna see what happens in New York. They didn't give this turkey multiple chances, you know. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think it's an ownership move. I think it's a this ain't a checkers, this a chess move. That's what I think. I think Dolan's butt goes, bought and paid. He ain't a he he's solid at what he does. See, for me to call him a bum head coach, it means I have to see something brilliant out of him or something great. Can't say that. Can't say that. Solid though, because he gets defense out of his teams. Solid because he gets certain guys to step up. And they're good to probably be 4th, 5th, 6th type team. Maybe even make a deeper run. But not the kind of coach that can get to the finish line. So he better than being a bum. I wish he was a bum because then I could just say, you know, I saw that. No, but he can play. He's well conditioned. The problem that he runs into is that there's two things. The rest of the league does the same thing. His teammates are older. He has no help, and there is no second coming. And they don't play no defense. And every game is like that. And he has to be Captain Marvel almost every night to keep them busters afloat. That's just a fact. And it has to hurt his heart that a generic junior whopper version of him like Trey Young is winning and winning out closing games. They done lost how many games? Either by 1 point or close. And they got robbed in that Laker game. They lost this game last night. Lost that game in Sacramento. They didn't have about 2, 3 games. They can't seal the deal. He still can go realistically if he's healthy. I give him about 2, 3 more years of top tier ball. But he got to get some sidekicks. He has no help. Clay is shot. Wiggins is just never was, and Draymond's done. They got to make some major moves. It's just because he deserves to get his flowers for his greatness, and he ain't get no help. He's a one man crew, literally. They got Steph Curry who's like an outside version of Moses Malone. No, I don't blame him. I don't blame him to go to Detroit. Shoot, you sit in that surgery chair. Who wants to go to Detroit and do what? They should go to the Motel Museum or maybe go to a Lions game. What you going to Detroit for? Maybe go watch the Tigers play. Clay's not a bum now. He got old. He washed. Not a bum. No. He just washed. That's all. It's good second tier off the bench with some flirting of flirts, but it's just wash. You gotta remember he been hurt a lot, took a pounding, went 4 rings, 6 finals. What else you want? The guy had a heck of a the only sad thing about Clay is that before they started the steroid scoring agenda, he was the only guy that I thought that could have realistically been between Kobe and Wilt on a given night. He was the only one. Because as great as Steph 60 was, I could see Clay going for 89. Yeah, well, that's how bad it was. But Zach Levine, now the deals were going down, but people wanted too much for him. He's athletic. Yeah. To me, if he could play worth anything, they'd make moves for him. That's my knock against him. People don't like it when I say he's athletic, but he don't play no basketball. He really don't. Dunking, some threes, what's he do? You know. So now you won't see that no time soon because I give Dan Cantwell unless that stuff backfires. If that championship game comes back to backfire, you might be seeing some tickets again. If they come out and do stupid stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he could be way better, way better. And I told you, there's nights he looks like a baby Shaq, and then them other nights he look like he's trying to hide behind Zion Williamson, like he just kind of like curling like a turtle. He settles on them outside shots. He tries to dance and shake. He got it. He has moments where there's moments when it looks like you look at the Lakers. Well, why would you get rid of him for Anthony Davis? And there's other nights when he's hanging in that Andre Drummond pile. So you know, he's frustrating. He's frustrating. Most of those left-handed basketball players are, though. I noticed that. Why is that? You know, LeBron's a lefty, but most of them, I don't know what it is, but had some problems with him. But he should be way better. Way better. I can't call him a bum. He's more like I never was really. I mean, he has some moments, but no, compared to Julius Randle, so Julius Randle's a bum. Like I got expectations. Malik Beasley, I don't have no expectations. It's two different. No, he's a tier below Julius Randle. So when you call somebody a bum, that means they got the potential to be great. They could go from anywhere from great to average. And depends on their mood and what they feel like, and their mindset. Cats can't be in the same tier class unless they do something similar or they've had the moments. Malik Beasley is not in Julius Randle's level. Not no, no. Julius is frustrating. Beasley is kind of like, you know, you know. And the only reason why I say that about Randle is because he's been in the league a minute. Because I would call him more of a solid. But he is bummy though, because he could be so much better. He just half-hearted. So it all depends. Yeah. I don't call a guy that's washed a bum. So I did a video about that. It should have been out. Yeah, it's out. You check it out. Purdy ain't a bum. He's just a cat that is stationary solid. He can play and he has some wheels and he can pass, but he's just real He's real stationary. People who didn't see Cam Newton and don't know what he accomplished are out of their everlasting mind. Because if you just use Cam Newton's college career, okay, you could say he did. But he went to a Super Bowl, a one-loss team with no real receivers. He sure as heck didn't have no McCaffrey and Debo and the receiver they got. He didn't have that. He didn't have that against Denver. And you can hold him not diving in the pile against Von Miller when Von was beasting. But Denver's defense was just on another level. But the guy did get to a Super Bowl. He led a team. There's a big difference between what he did and what Purdy's doing. Purdy is the first quarterback I've ever seen go to a Super Bowl where they tell you the running back is clearly the main dude. That's what Cam's argument's about. He didn't say the dude was whack. He didn't say he couldn't play. He's a game manager. He's a dude that he has to defer to two backs who are better. Because Debo was that dude a couple years ago. You remember Debo against Green Bay and Lambeau, and he went off. So no one is scared of Purdy like that. He should be the man. That's all Cam is saying. If you're a quarterback in a team like San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, who's supposed to be some offensive quarterback guru genius, what's the problem? What's the problem? So Cam is 100 on that. And I did a video about it. I talked about it. Yeah, they did it with Montana and Young. Um, they tolerated it was back, but that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem here is that this cat just isn't on a certain level. That's all. That's all. You know. And I don't know if he's gonna get to it. Now he comes up and has a big game next Sunday. He shuts everybody up. But if he plays like he did against your guys, play against Green Bay and Detroit, and you don't do that against Mahomes, oh, you're gonna lose royally. So he better bring his A game. He better play the best game he's ever played. So that's how I think about that. They've been cheap, but they've had guys who would, I mean, really. When you had Montana and you can make the case with Young, and then you go to Kaepernick, but then you had a lot of guys who are kind of bust, and you had Jimmy G, but you know, Trey Lance didn't work out. So I agree. I did a video about that too. I did a video about that too. And again, Mahomes gets it. You know, he's solid. So you kind of know these things if you you put the right pieces in place. You kind of know these things. So no argument with me about that. Um, yeah, they are. They are. I got a lot of respect for them. Them guys are winners. No, you don't hear me say otherwise. Sometimes I watch their podcast. I seen they talk about different things. They win. True sportsmen too. I mean, when you battling out for who's the best and all that, I mean, yeah, yeah, you know, no argument there. But yeah, Mahomes was raised the right way. He took notes. He made notes, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. So he ain't. He ain't. First of all, he ain't black. Because if you say a white dude, see, it's that's racist in itself. Let me explain. There is no white athlete or actor, actress, or musician when they say they're trying to make the next of a person that's black that's crossover. That's oxymoronic. We live in a white person's world. We don't get that luxury. So that's wrong. You're gonna say crossover appeal, you gotta think of somebody white. You gotta say, well, yeah. And see, he's tripping. The Rock was known from wrestling, but that was a whole different appeal. And then it became action hero movies and stuff like that. Kelsey doesn't have that kind. His commercials are decent, and he has a smirk about him where you're laughing. But I don't see like this gonna be some post and acting thing. I just don't know if it's gonna come out. He'll be lucky if he has a Fred Dryer type of run on TV. We'll see. We'll see. But it's insulting for a white person to say that a white dude is gonna be the next. Well, the Rock is funny, but he caught on. But see, when a black entertainer is crossed over, he has to be 2 to 3 times better and also have an audience that brings that cha-ching. White entertainers don't have that situation because they already accepted if they are. And then the next thing is the tie-in. So let me put this in English for you. The Rock would have had to have been dating maybe Beyonce. We got to think of something equal to make this, work the two sides out. But it's not it's not close. He had crossover, but he still was black. He had How would I describe it? Hmm. I gotta think. Who could I pick on? It's kind of like maybe like Teddy Pendergrass crossover, but he still kept his black base because he had big hit. Well, see, when you have a character, I've never. And one thing about Carl Weathers, I just did a video about it too. It's coming out. Be coming out tomorrow. It's done. Man, it's loading up. I said in my video, I've never seen an actor who had a second co-star tier second co-star role where his character took a life of its own. Because this whole thing with Apollo Creed, you can't even think of another where someone's sidekick to the main kick. They got sequels out. We're talking 2 decades later, 4 decades later. It's uncanny what he accomplished with Apollo Creed, just that alone. Because that's like the equivalent of a hit song, hit album, TV show, movie, etc. It's iconic. So that speaks volumes about Carl Weathers. And I said Wesley Snipes, probably Michael J. White, um, Samuel Jackson, Ving Rhymes, The Rock, they all adept to Carl Weathers. Black stuntman with a charisma, and they have a character, and basically be an action cat. You know, that's incredible. The Apollo Creed, that's taken off worldwide. Just you got to think about it like that in that term. So yeah, but no, I'm very funny when somebody says Spidey, somebody white is going to be like the black version. They really don't know the history in America. They really don't understand how that worked. Black entertainer got to be 3 times as good to get that role. So, well, Mel Gibson was the what they pushed as the agenda. They pushed him. They put money towards him. You know, Danny's the better actor, and Danny's got more versatility. But Gibson, they want this Australian honk that they heartthrob. He was basically like the movie version of David Hasselhoff, if I think about it in hindsight. Same kind of hairstyle, but it was an image thing. But he was more towards the movies, and he played these characters, and that's what they pushed. That's how it worked. White cop, black cop. But Danny Glover can ride with anybody. I mean, this cat has got chops. And he had crossover too. He was like what I say the uh, sophisticated middle class brother version of Carl Weathers in a way. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Glover and Carl Weathers because he was kind of like that. No, I wouldn't call him a made man. I'd say great. I wouldn't call him a made man. There's only a few black made men that are actors. He ain't one of them. I, I put him in the very good to great, but he ain't no made man. Denzel's a made man. Sidney Poitier was a made man. Cosby was a made man. Eddie Murphy's a made man. Richard Pryor made man. He ain't in that tier for me, but I do like his work. My underrated movie for him was To Sleep with Anger. Yeah. I love that movie. Came out back in 90. And he had a very distinctive voice and he had a distinctive way of catching on. If you shave his mustache off, yes. I know exactly what you're saying, especially with the hairline going like it's going back like a toaster. Like if you do the toaster and you shave his mustache off, yeah, I see what you're saying. Except a more bulky version. Sometimes LeBron looks like a cross between Danny Glover and R. Kelly with glasses on. And maybe I'm just the only one seeing it like that. I don't know. It's some of this thing where he wear these shades, like a bigger version. So that's how it kind of looks to me because of his thing. I don't know. Sometimes it be, and it was somebody else I'm thinking of too. But anyway, you know the look I'm talking about. Yeah, like they third cousin. Not quite get the hair, but not quite, um, like the hair is there, but he doesn't have no style. Like if he had some style, it'd be more noticeable. Yeah, looking like a DeBarge that hung out with that that uh Shermore, yeah, from SWAT. Look like they could be kinfolk. Shamir Moore, or called Sherm. Now his curls is kind of like on it, just he didn't get no grease to him. Trey ain't got Trey Young ain't got no style. He ain't got no style. Kind of like his game too, because he just be jacking them threes up. That's kind of his style is. But he gets a pass, and they don't even know why. They need a broke Steph, and they kind of like tolerate him, even though he's erratic. It costs his coaches. And then DeMar Murray's actually probably the better player on the team right now. But people don't care. Trey just got sold. He came at the right time. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. No, 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 no. You hate the Heat. Please don't say that. Heck no. That's the problem we got now. Because um Charlie Hero be jacking enough to break the backboard and dunk. No, no. He pull all his hair out and he strangle him. That's what would happen. He'd be outside downtown Dade County trying to get Riley out of jail. He strangle him. I don't want him. I want that turkey. Let him stay in the Atlanta strip club. Let him go to Detroit. Let him go to I don't know. Let him go somewhere else. Don't come to my team. Somebody just hit something. Don't let him come to my team. I don't want him. Well, yeah, because it's like you can never let someone pimp your team. You can't let them because ego and attitude, you gotta defer. LeBron is never deferred. I don't know if it's because he didn't go to college. I don't know what it is. He just never deferred. And see, the people are like, look, man, you can win rings, but you get old, you get hurt, and I'm stuck with your agenda. And then I have to set an unprecedented where everybody who thinks they somebody's gonna keep trying to pimp me and pull me like this. I can't do that. So no, Riley had to set that straight. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. She can't because she needs to sell tickets. And see, she's out in LA. And her brothers almost destroyed her daddy's empire. So she's had to bend over and hold it and pretty much deal with what she's got. She really did. Because when Kobe got old and Kobe got paid, he held them hostage. They stunk. They had to pay him for legacy, but they had to kind of like it was kind of like, okay, we'll mutually, but they paid a big price. The White Howard didn't work out, Nash didn't work out, D'Antoni didn't work out. All that work didn't work out. Yes and no, but the thing about it is this: no one really respects it, though. It's not really respected, and eventually, it's gonna backfire. It's gonna backfire. He gonna find out the hard way when he gets into ownership. So that's what I'm telling you right now. So I wouldn't really put a lot of stock in it. It looks like something special, like he's getting over. He ain't. Well, I tell people how I feel about D Wade. I got D Wade tied with Kobe for my second favorite all time two guard. And D Wade has been so underrated and maligned. And a lot of people be hating on D Wade because of his lifestyle choices, his imagery. That's a whole nother segment. But on the court, D Wade was a precursor to Steph because he deferred, he set aside and let Braun, even though he outplayed Braun in that Dallas Maverick finals. I can't take Jerry West over D Wade because if D Wade had Will Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, he's gonna have rings on both fingers. Jerry West didn't get the job done. D Wayne Wade got the job done. Dwayne Wade led Shaq and that team against Dallas. Led the league in scoring. Had Steph Curry's average, which Steph got a league MVP, which D Wade didn't get. Dwayne Wade was the best player against the Mavericks in the series that LeBron came up short with. Jerry West had a better stack situation. Now you can sit there and tell me West was a better pure scorer. I'm not going to argue that. But give me D Wade, and Jerry West gave D Wade love too. D Wade is disrespected. And I'm a Heat fan. I'm a D Wade fan. As a player, I'm gonna roll D Wade because D Wade played defense. He led a team. They haven't, he led that team. He got darn dirty. Tell you that. I tell it all the time. People don't want to hear what I gotta say about that. You give D Wade, yeah, he did great. He got Shaq in as a GM. He probably, to be honest with you, he's probably in that Red Auerbach class. If from a non-basketball playing, he played as important as anything with him in Red Auerbach as far as that go. But as a player, as great as his talents was, and he could play, I can't sit here and say he could be over D Wade for me because he had a lot more to work with. You give Dwayne Wade Elgin Baylor to work with. Oh, I know my stories with this. Give him Elgin Baylor, Gil Goodrich, and Will Chamberlain. I bet you D Wade's got about 5 or 6 rings because I tell this story all the time. If he'd have had Shaq peak prime, he has about 4 or 5 rings. He showed you when you got him some help. That's with anybody. But he was also a leader. He's been disrespected. He got hurt, you know. I'm not arguing it, but he wasn't there at 18 though. He got better once he sank them air balls against Utah and he worked on his game. He worked hard. He did work hard. But Jerry West does sometimes like kind of blow horns about certain things because Kobe's maturation really started to kick about when he was 22, 23. That's when he really got into that element where he could score and shoot and he got his body and everything. He got better. He got better. He was coming along. By the second, third run with Shaq, he had come a lot further. He came a lot further. But he was the first few couple years, he wasn't there. They were just kind of like, it was still touchy. 97 to 99 was a work in progress. It was coming, but it wasn't there. The Utah thing was the best thing that happened to him. And at Indiana Finals, he started coming on and he got better. And then he got, he was never better than Shaq when they were together, but I'll say this. He was making a strong case that he was coming, especially the second, third round. He came a lot further. He sucked against Detroit. See, when I get into the discussions why he's not in my top 10 ever, I'll never forget how his pouty behavior. He was horrible in that Detroit series. They picked his pocket. He shot the ball too much, and he was just jacking shots. He had a pout game that season against Sacramento. I want to say it was May of 2004. You can look it up. And somebody in the Lakers seems that I'll never play with him again because of his poutiness, because Phil called him out for shooting too much. Then in 06, to be up 3-1, punking, beating up on Steve Nash, and then to lose like that and just quit. He had those froze moments. I can't have him top 10 ever. Talent-wise, yes. One of the best, yes. But you see, when people come at me and say, well, why you got him tied with D Wade? I said, because I loved his offensive game. His defense was great. I said, but D Wade played his heart out. Kobe didn't always bring it like that. They got selective memory. Well, I did like the Lakers back then, but when Shaq left, I I got off the ship for as that go. I was into the Lakers, if you must know. Magic was one of my favorite players growing up and loved Kareem. Kobe turned me off. Now, I still respected him from afar, but I went, with Miami all the way. I've been a Heat fan for a long time because I liked them on the East, but when Shaq came over, that just seals it right there. I was like, and he stunk with Rudy Tomjanovich. They ran that other coach out of there. I forgot who the other coach was. And it wasn't until Phil came back. When I penalize Kobe, it's because of what happened on the court. Strictly. Not nothing off. And I ain't gonna say no gossip stuff or nothing like that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Because when that whole thing went down at the the Nickelodeon award show. He got the award for athlete, and he had the Dr. King T-shirt on. And he was up there crying and stuff and talking about his rights. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He was on a PR tour with that. Yeah, he did. And when he told the cops, I should have done like Shaq and made him sign. Yeah, he did. He tapped his feet. See, a true G got to take that like a man. You don't put nobody on the bus. That was worse buck dancing. He just self-inflicted. He looked like a simp. He had white appeal. So he's a unique situation because he came with a crossover appeal, but he played the game. He was with Brandy. He had teeth. He could smile. He tried the little rap thing, hung out with Brian McKnight. He he had crossover appeal. I mean, he did because he was a robot of Jordan, the Sprite commercial, McDonald's commercial. Yes, he did because he played that narrative. The thing about him, he's almost dangerous because he's almost like a spy. You have to wonder, is he like an AI robot? Talented dude, but when you cloning yourself after another man, it's kind of psycho. He did more than once because he snitching on Shaq was enough, messed up the team chemistry, and he brought that heat on himself and how he said stuff. And now he got black when he said he wanted uh Andrew Bonham traded for Jason. When he got and said that mess. Now he got blacker. He got that old man black, and he was clowning those other cats. But he was, he's an anomaly, to be honest with you, because you can't really think of another player that cloned themselves after another man like a robot. And it's so uncanny. It's uncanny. You know, great talent, strong IQ, willingness, and he made himself better and he had that kind of attitude. But there is things with him, and there were some moments with him where he definitely, you know, he definitely shortchanged. Yeah, he worked hard. I'm not taking nothing from his work ethic. I'm gonna tell you like this: all superstars in the NBA work hard. And before someone says, "Well, Shaq did this and that," I say, "Yes, he did. Yes, he did, because he put up a body of work which ain't too many people gonna see. Anybody that's a superstar in that league and they won and they were at a high level worked hard. Now, maybe you wanted them to work harder or do this or do that, but they put the work in because you got to understand what it takes. He was very underrated as a passer. If he played today, he'd probably be close to triple double every night. That wasn't the way the game was when he played. A lot of people fail to realize he was three different players between LA to Miami. When he had his from Orlando to Miami, he had three different characters of his career. Not a lot of players can do that. When he was in Orlando, he was just like Giannis. When he got to the Lakers, he was a power banger. When he was in Miami, he did give and go, pick and roll. It was a little bit different, but it was a different type of orchestrated motion. Different player. Had three different intervals of his career. But I don't like it when people say, well, so and so, this and that and the other. I tapped on some videos today too. So when you see my videos, you can see I was fired up because I told the truth. I said Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars were the blueprint for Jordan and the Bulls. Yes, I said it. Anybody don't like it? Feel free to come on through. We can debate that. I'm tired of Isaiah Thomas not getting his due. Only Steve Nash has given Isaiah Thomas his due. So I dealt with that. I dealt with that. You know. And he got every right to kind of be nitpicky with Jordan because they did beat him. And they were three straight finals, you know. So he got right to be upset. He should have gotten more notoriety as a champion. But he was too black. And I'll take him over Allen Iverson. I'd be one of the few people to say about Isaiah Thomas. I will. Because I seen how freaky he was 40 years ago with Kelly Tripucka. They had the highest scoring game ever against the Denver Nuggets. People don't know Isaiah deferred so much and downplayed scoring. But I still remember that 25 in the third quarter against the Lakers on one leg. Please get out of town. Yep. You know. And then you got some people out here acting like Hakeem's rings were bigger than Detroit's rings with Isaiah. And I'm like, get out of here. Elijah was a better talent. I don't think if he was a better player. Talent wise is one thing. Better player, I don't know. Because Zeke was more clutch. I'm going to keep it 100. I thought the world of Zeke. He was one of my favorite players. Because he went at you. If he don't make that bum pass the bird, they might be Boston and Mag on the 4 straight finals. That's how close he was. That people fail to get what he did. I mean, he was that good. He was that good. Joe Dumars ain't nothing to sneeze at. You can tell me that Jordan and Pippen were an upgrade version better. Okay, I'll give you that. But the blueprint to what the Bulls did was from the Pistons. The blueprint was the styling of having multiple guards, forwards, and what we call serviceable centers, because that's what Lambeer was. And you make the case the Bulls, when they had Bill Cartwright, was a better center than Lambeer. I remember that game like yesterday. He was on one leg. I remember that. They don't even talk about it no more. They never gave him his due on one leg. They took a bum call in that game too. Pistons could have won that. Could have been 3 straight. 2 things would always kind of haunt him. He don't make that pass to Bird to beat Boston. They may go to finals that year. They get that, don't get that call, don't go against them against the Lakers. They could 3-peat. Could have been. I mean, but they didn't want him. But he was tough. And to me, he was a smaller version of Jordan. He was Jordan's measuring stick, not Magic or Bird. From commercial perspective and, championship, yeah. But the skill set, the killer mental instinct, it was Zeke. It was Zeke. I'm just saying. That was a bad dude. Bad. Bad dude. So I hold him in high regards, in case you didn't know. Yeah, that was great too. And they came back and won. It was. Dwayne Wade had a great series against the Pistons too. Back to back. Everybody except for Kobe. Just saying. Just saying. And you could get off on Detroit, you was something else. See, I seen Zeke do it, LeBron did, and I saw Dwayne Wade do it. But remember, that's when Rasheed Wallace said they had to change the rules because they were scared. I said, no, y'all weren't. I did a video about it. No, y'all weren't. No, you weren't. I talked about it. I said, no, you weren't. Y'all were bad, y'all version of the Pistons, but y'all weren't the bad boys. He need to stop telling talent, athletic, play defense, but you weren't the bad boys. Because the perimeter guys were scaring you for Detroit. Isaiah was scaring you. And then everybody else followed Isaiah's lead. Richard Hamilton and Chauncey were no Isaiah Thomas. They good at their respective fields. They weren't Isaiah. That's true. But it took a certain type of person. Now, I'll say this, from my Zeke to Ben Wallace was scaring white folk. It has. Chuck Daly's underrated as a head coach. Hmm. But before Rasheed Wallace, and he has every right to gripe about David Stern's mafia pushing, but Isaiah Thomas could talk about it even more so because he did win. And they treat him, like he's a side dish. I can't stand the way he gets treated because I don't know what basketball they're watching. No, no. AC Green wasn't scary. Kareem was a moody brother, intellectualized and to an extent because of his name and how he looked. But hey, white folks hated him. So that's another story, another video. Byron Scott didn't scare no white folks. Michael Cooper didn't scare nobody white. I told you about AC Green. Norm Nixon wasn't scary. Spencer Haywood could have been. Not Bob McAdoo, not at that stage. Michael Thompson didn't. Yeah, he was a good crossover Negro. Non-threatening. Jolly. I mean, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Because it was a great he played with a lot of, but he was a killer, but he played with a lot of, you know, until he said he had the hive. And then when he came and said he had the hive, then they kind of like, oh, well, that's the end of him. We're going to go to Michael Jordan. Because that pretty much happened. Isaiah Thomas smiled and had a nice teeth too. But them white folks must have saw, they must have saw Junkyard Dog in there or something because it didn't work. Didn't work. It didn't work. But he played in LA. And LA sells you stars. They think Detroit, they think you can get mugged. Just, so. But they weren't scary in LA. Folks weren't scared of James Worthy. He more scarier now. Excuse me. He more scary now than he was when he was younger. He had them chains he had around his neck was scary. That was scary because he'd come in the ring with them white tights and them chains on, and he looked crazy. His fro was crazy. He looked like somebody's almost big uncle that been eating sausage and beans, and he just growled at you. But my point was, they weren't scary. They didn't scare nobody. The NBA, you asked me the blackest teams the other night. Detroit was the one. And I think Moses Malone scared white folks. Yeah, he was, because he was big and black and greasy then. He didn't care. I think Moses Malone scared him. Because Moses used to talk trash too. That's why Isaiah Thomas got room to talk. Because if you, listen, I'm never going to question nobody's a basketball aficionado how deep they can go. But if they really go back into that mindset and that culture, that's why Moses Malone doesn't get no juice. But those cats weren't polished for David Stern to shine on. Thompson was one of the few brothers that came correct. He let it be known how he felt. And they just hoped that that towel he carried didn't go upside their head. He meant business. Yeah, Cheney did because he had them reporters shook. But him and Calipari were cool. It was cool because Calipari said, look, Chamber was like, okay, I'm not going to argue with him. There's truth to what he's saying. He wasn't going to argue with him. You know. But when you're a black college coach back then, he's just now, you still have to be on your P's and Q's. No different. You don't get that room to wiggle like your white counterparts do. There will never be a black college basketball coach that'll get to do what Rick Pitino did with all them parties in Louisville. If you know about the Rick Pitino story, you can Google it if you don't. They'll never let a black coach do that without them stripping him down. But I know it's because he was like Michael Corleone and he like a choir boy. He's still like a priest. I know. You can see him handing out the wafers. Yeah, Tarkanian. Yeah. Well, no, he ain't too woke. It ain't like he was asking for reparations and it wasn't like he was saying let them be. But they were seen as too Negroid though. And when they lost to Duke, the powers that be were very happy. Because when they smashed Duke in 90, I was hype. I was hype. Loved it. I hated Duke. I respect Krzyzewski. He's one of them kind of white dudes, old beady eyed that he's something else. But that was a different era though. I mean, and it's funny when you say that because I tell you all the time, the 95 when Garnett went to the pros and Kobe, it just didn't mean the same no more. College basketball kind of, there was some moments and some players afterwards, but when you lose the best of the best Guys going out and no more. See, even Amari Stoudemire, even guy that had good careers, but you lost 4 years of those guys. You lost 2 or 3 years of those guys. You don't know how the college pendulum would have swung. It made a big difference. So it never has been the same for me. It hasn't been the same for me watching college basketball after 95. I'm just being 100. And that was a whole different era. 'Cause that happened 5 years before Garnett came and went out. So different. So, but I remember the Running Rebels. Yep. Yep. So that was a different day and time in college basketball. Different day and time. Can't even compare it. You can't even compare it to nothing. You know, not set the Fab Five, and that was a different type, but that was a different era. College basketball ain't never been nowhere near it since the early '90s. You've had some players and some things, but it's not the same. More than ever, it's now just a breeding ground for the NBA, even more so. But I ain't got no problem if guys are good enough to come out. It puts them in rare company. It's dominance. It makes them even more significant because of this era we're in. Every era that has a dominant team, and we're with the salary caps or the free agency and the market, and with the high turnover of the mobilized quarterback, the mobilized tight end, the mobilized offense, to be able to do this, which so few teams have done. Because only the Bills, New England, and Kansas City have gone to 4 Super Bowls in this type of situation. That's just not normal. Not even the mighty 49ers, the Cowboys, Steelers, Raiders, all that had that kind of success. So this is rare company. Yeah, I know you're talking about Steve Spagnuolo. He's really good. And if they come in there and they play good defense against Purdy, it makes him look even better. Mahomes, it just puts him over Montana and he's behind Brady, but it's still him, Brady, and Montana as the GOATs. Kelsey pretty much ties with Gronk. That's how I look at it. Another back to back makes him a tie with Gronk. Because the reason why I say it's a tie because Grunk's got one more. Kelsey to do back to back, especially in this day and time when they were probably at their lowest end of their best of their teams, still says that hey, when we turn on, we can still hang with anybody. That's what Gronk kind of did. But this is a different type of situation. It really is. It really is. And Mahomes is closer to Brady in the sense that he's the engine that gets the car going. Because with Andy Reid, that whole thing has to be predicated on what he can do. He's really coaching on the field. So with Andy Reid, it puts him at the table. He'll sit there with Shula, Landry, Belichick, Walsh. He's at that table. He win. And he'll be able to sit there to the day he retires because he will have earned it. That's what another ring would do for Andy Reid. Yeah, that's where he belonged too. And pretty much when he came out of college is what he should have been. He had no business being no starting quarterback. But yeah, I remember Chad Henne. Hmm. So, but Mahomes is in a win-win situation either way. It's like house money. He wasn't no bum. He was a never was. See, you gotta stop calling cash. Some of these cash just was never, but they were never was. Remember, I'm gonna give you my definition of a bum. It means if he feels like it, he can show some maybe very good to almost great potential. He could be good, or he tends to stick into mediocrity. All depends on how he feels. Some cats ain't bums because they never was decent, decent at best. I don't think the hair scares them too much. I mean, Russell had hair, didn't I don't think it scares him. The Kaepernick throw scares you, but I don't think when I think Mahomes is mental makeup of how he articulates. They're not used to the black mind being that efficient. He has a tendency to talk a way that the nuances is it's like, oh wow, this guy, he can get pretty profound. And he has a high IQ on the field, the way he covers the field, the way he takes hits, the way he comes back, the way he is thinking about 2 or 3 plays, uncanny ability to beat you and take what you give him and beat you with it. It's a unique microcosm. It's incredible. Compartmentalized. It's like he's tapped into so many different energies. It's just uncanny. So that's the scary part, you know. But that's because his line sucked and they kept coming at him. But even in the fourth quarter, there was still the sense, can he come back from 21 down? He's the only quarterback I've ever seen that I would say that about. The only one. Only one. Even against Brady and them. So I knew it was over because Brady and them had everything going. When he had Gronk, he had everything in stride. He looked very composed. And Brady at that time, you knew the end was coming because even the way he beat Green Bay, he had that one half and then he stunk up the second half. So he threw some bad picks and he started to kind of come undone. But he does enough that if the team holds up and he don't get too cute and they get going, it's OW. But the reason why Tampa Bay is because they kept sending bodies, and they also got physical against Kansas City on the offensive side. They moved the ball. That's all. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. Or Mike Tyson for that matter, or Tiger Woods for that matter, like a fifth, because he's as tough as they come. Because you don't go to no 6 AFC championship games in a row, 4 Super Bowls, and do what he's done and not be special. I mean, it's and plus he's in an era now with a guy like Lamar Jackson might get his second MVP, a guy like Joe Burrow who's kind of like there, and Josh Allen, and you got guys. Now that's why alone, and Josh Allen ain't been the same since, and the Bills ain't been the same since. And he hit Tyreek Hill in a quick stride and made that happen. That's a Mike Tyson level take you out there, or Steph Curry quick shot, hurt your feelings, send your butt home. It's uncanny. It's uncanny. There's no one like him. I've been watching football a long time. I've never seen anyone like him. And I tend to get these things right. And I'm not the kind of person that needs 4 and 5 years to see if you're great. I usually kind of pick it up quick. And with him, I remember his 50 touchdown rookie season. I knew he was something else. I just didn't know he was, but I knew after he won that Super Bowl, I said he was in my top 10 quarterbacks ever. And it just kept going. He's not a bum. He's he's one of those guys. He's sloppy, but he's not a bum because he plays with what they give him. Some things are on him, some things aren't on him. I just think the biggest thing is like this. He has potential to be great. He falls in my he's a top tier quarterback. He falls in my solid rank. Because to be a bum means that he just wasted his talent like he was Jake Plummer, like he was Jeff George, like he's one of those guys who just quit and just did nothing. Yeah, he does that, but he can be great too. You can't win division titles and do what he does and not have some form of greatness or good in you. So that's why I can't call him a bum. But if he becomes a dude that starts doing like Jeff George or gets indifferent and doesn't make the playoffs, like they almost did this year, then yes, you'll be free and I will help you start the fire in the club and say he's a bum. Can't call him a bum yet because he has tendencies to have those moments. Um, he missed a couple plays against Kansas City. He did. And he's got to take that. He's got to take that. He's got to take that. But he did get the I don't know if I call him a bum. It's just there's a lot of things that have to go right and wrong in them situations. I don't know if I call him a bum. You know, you know. They just seem to be missing certain things. That's all. I don't know if I call Jordan Pryor a bum though. I have to think about that. I don't know if I call him a bum. You know, he got hurt. He got hurt, and see, a lot of the problems is on the defensive side. They just be hurt and they're missing assignments. But again, it's like a lot of stuff that's not calculated. That's on coaching. Before I can call a guy a bum, I have to see the only person who's ever going to be called a bum on a football team is starters that are supposed to be distinctive. So that's your quarterback, your receiver, your running back, your safety. If a guy has a notorious situation, I don't think Buffalo Milano was arguably their best player. Yeah, but again, they don't have anybody that stands out. They were counting on Von Miller to be in this dude. They don't have any firepower. Milano was probably the best player on defense this year. Now you go figure that out. Milano played great this year. So take your pick with that. You know, I don't when I call somebody a bum, that means that they can go high and go, yeah. And I don't know if they got anybody that I would sit there and debate that with. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think their defense is the Bills' defense is what I call solid to good and could be better. Tweak. You got to know what to tweak. But Von Miller, obviously, at this stage is long in the tooth and it ain't work. I hope they don't use the situation on his personal life against him. That's not the problem. He been banged up with us and he just really doesn't move the needle that much. You know. So Charlie Ward, no, no. I mean, he was decent with the Knicks. He wasn't that he was too black. It's just that the powers that be were too racist and white. Tell the truth. Ain't about you being too black. It's about the people that you're working with being too white and hateful. You know, because if you think Charlie Ward was too black, then you got to think Maurice Claret was Marcus Garvey, and he challenged the status quo. And I don't really think he was super black about it, but I think he did bring up valid points. But this is a different situation with Charlie Ward. They were just racist. That's all. But he was decent. He was decent. It's just that they didn't want to. That's like I said before. They was too racist. Yeah, because he was a gunslinger, broke version of Brett Favre, basically, and that's what got him over. And they never called him out on it. And he was hard to figure out. Yeah, he was because he would have games where he beat New England or Pittsburgh, and then he come back, and that's when Cleveland stunk, and he gets smashed. Or Arizona, some garbage team would make him, and he just looked like a bum. I mean, he looked like what happened. So his highs and lows were extreme. Deshaun Watson, the jury's still out. The jury's still out. I'm not ready to write him out because he had some moments. But if he plays like this again next year, yes. They did beat New England, and they did beat the Colts. But to see the thing is that they would play a scrub team and then get their butt dealt. He had a lot of talent, and he just they and but see, I told you this before. If you're a Charger fan from the '80s to now, this ain't nothing new. Stan Humphries is the only one that's ever cashed in and got to a Super Bowl, and Stan Humphries was middle second tier, high third compared to Fouts, compared to Breeze, compared to Rivers, compared to Herbert. So that's a fact. They've always had a lot of talent. They're the most frustrating football team I've seen in the last 40 years. They didn't go further than what they should have or what they've had. Junior Seau. I mean, they had talent galore and one Super Bowl appearance to show for it. That's it. So and I go back with the Chargers too. Kellen Winslow, Senior, Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, Chuck Muncie, John Jefferson. Yeah. And when they had Fred Dean. I mean, they just never could seal the deal. It used to be they couldn't play in the cold. That's what hurt their butt in the 80s. Because I remember when they went to Cincinnati, that game, the AFC Championship game, it was too cold. They was like, it was too cold. Then they went to Miami, Air Coryell, and they got their butt ran off the field by Miami. They had beaten them the craziest playoff game I'd ever seen that one night. And then they came back and then got dealt the next year. Miami got dealt. So they were just frustrating. And always the team that I just never figured out why Dan Fox could never get over the hump. Never could. Because on paper, they were stacked, but they ain't play no defense. And their offense was suspect. So, so hard to be a Chargers fan. Hard to be. Yeah, but when y'all had far, because y'all probably didn't achieve as much as y'all should have with Aaron Rodgers, that's why. But at least you cats uh went to 3 Super Bowls with those cats. You got 2 with Favre and you went with Aaron, you got 2 out of 3. If you a Chargers fan, you don't know none of that. Being a Charger fan is like being a Padres fan. Because Tony Gwynn went 15 years between World Series appearances. Well, to me, I'm not a Packers fan like that, but if I had to say it to them two, it's the Seahawks was worse. At least with Tampa Bay, Brady played poise enough and he hit you with some bombs before the halftime, and y'all had to come back in that game and you had a chance to end, but it was a lot more, that game I could see you losing. It was a tough loss. How you lost that Seattle game, to this day I still don't know. I watched that game. To this day I don't know. I have no clue. I have no clue. I sat there and I watched it. Russell Wilson like he'd been drunk or something. And Aaron was scared to throw the ball Sherman's way. All he had to do was be halfway accurate. And you beat that butt by a ton because Russell threw 3 picks that game. He was horrible that game. I remember that. He went off against Breezy and them too. I remember that. And people can say what they want to say about Kaepernick. I'll tell you all the time, Kaepernick was white, he'd still be playing NFL right now. Because believe me, they got some cats that have been around a long time. Cap would still have a job. If Andy Dalton can still get a job, Cap should have about 4 of them. You're 4-time better quarterback. Just saying. So yeah. Crow scared him. Well, see, and AB and see, remember when guys call people Uncle Toms and say stuff in a black moment, but they don't want to talk about this because he wants to be seen as kumbaya. And that's why I couldn't take AB serious because Cap was bringing up a real life issue. That's why I don't like black NFL players, black athletes don't really come off right when they speak. If they don't speak out, they embarrass not saying nothing because they embarrass themselves. AB knows, like most of them know, that the train that the drafts ain't nothing but a slave auction. Okay. It's how you run your physique, your timing. Okay. Most of the times when you get recruited, yeah. Most of the times when you get recruited by these colleges, they want cats from the hood that can run. That's a fact. They're going for sprinters and jumpers. They're not. They want cats that can move. So they come into certain neighborhoods because they expect to get certain type of cats. That's the way it's always been. So what he's trying to say, it ain't correlating. That's not correlating. So I never paid him no mind. I didn't pay him no mind. You know, Cap didn't say anything different. I heard Rodney Harrison say, I didn't know he was black and all that mess. They know that they didn't buck dance so much for the interview, you know. Eric Pearson, what's up, DP? um, she's not as big as Brandy, but she had some big time songs. She has some big time songs. No, her voice isn't as good as Brandy, but she had some big time songs. You know, Back and Forth with R. Kelly was big and 1 in a Million. She had some big songs. Yeah, she wasn't, but she was kind of be like the closest thing to a female version of Tupac. I do believe had she lived, the acting was gonna make her, more so. Brandy was big, but Brandy didn't really have much power when she got grown. Tell me how Brandy's adult career sunk. And then Ashanti emerges, Alicia Keys emerge, and Beyonce, and Brandy's like the fourth wheel. What happened? So big when she was a teen, yes. Not so much as the grown. Well, yeah, because they are auctioned like that. Dwayne Wade came out and said that. Dwayne Wade came out and said that's what they do. He came and said in basketball. Yeah, his mama, the white mama, came out and act like she wanted to disown Cap. That's one of the things about these situations. People don't understand what the blackness has to go through. It's real. Megan Good looks good, but she's a never was to me. She look good, but she's a never was to me. I don't really get that deep in her, you know, because what's her career like really? Jill Scott's a bum. Could have been great. Should have been good. Underachieved in music. Had was one of the artists that had a pulse on the game about 20 plus years ago. Didn't really want it. Stopped working for it. I told you about rappers. That's debatable because their careers aren't just exclusively to music and careers. And I always liked his production better than his actual rapping, but he had some cuts. I wouldn't call him a bum. He did good enough. I mean, like, okay, if they had a hip hop Hall of Fame in the last 15, 20 years, he got a chance to get in. He's had an impact. He had an impact. However, him busting up Little Flip wasn't exactly, the kind of battle that you want. But, Chris Brown, to me, is solid. There is no great moments. There's no good moments. Um, he's not going to be a net was. He could have been bigger in terms of marketing, but his voice is not much. Some okay song. He's solid. He's a good entertainer. What he do, but I don't really take him too seriously. He's a triple Junior Whopper Michael Jackson. Usher's a double. Merle Murray for career, I'd say, I'd say, it's good. I give him a good. Yeah, good. Gary Bussey. Aside from the, aside from the, uh, Buddy Holly story, he's a never was. because no one cares about anything else he did but that. I think a low key bigot too, if I'm not mistaken. Not much to him besides the Buddy Holly thing. Mr. T was kind of like the Carl Weathers of body balancers who made a name, made himself like a self-made man. I would say, I would say the very good, almost great. Because think about a bouncer, bodyguard, he became a phenomenon. Hairstyle, he was iconic. You know, he had iconic moments. I say in the great section. I put him in the great section when you think about it. He would be even bigger today. Because nowadays you ain't even got to do half what he did to be famous. And that was something when he was just known by that name. So Bruno, I like a whole lot. I'd say close to great. Close. He needs some more material. Close. Close. So I got him in the really good to very good. I like the jumps of his career and his versatility. Got in the really good to very good though. Still a broke Michael. So he got a lot of upside to him. So we'll see what he does. See what his next projects is like. Swayze, I always like Swayze. Swayze was cool. I'd say a solid. A solid. Not good, not great, but he had moments. And he was cool. And it wasn't he gave you a solid. He was a solid. Courtney Cox never was to me. Attractive, short haired, the Springsteen video, the white dance. But I never saw the hype about her. Kind of boring to me. Never saw it. I never got it. Never got it. Yeah, oh yeah, that's not saying nothing. Better songwriter, better artistry. The only thing is that Bruno tried to take it back to a more, you know, different type of artistry than Usher. But if I got even just going what they do, Usher's got the steps over him, but Bruno gives you more musical versatility. He's a better no Usher got the I say Usher can get him vocally. No, Bruno did hit the leave that door open. He hit that note. Um, but Bruno's got him as a craftsman and more memorable. Got money tracks. Usher hit at the right time, but Usher can't see no Bruno Mars. He's not the showman. He doesn't have enough to hang with Bruno. Aykroyd, I said Bill Murray was a solid. I say Aykroyd was a solid. You know, he did what he did. He had kind of a dry humor, but it worked. It worked. I give him that. Anthony Anderson, I'd say a solid. Not good, not great, not close to made, but he always keeps. He usually tends to get stuff that compliments him now. Came a long way. Prayers for him too, because they just had that little, I think he had a little situation health wise, and he keeps a hustle. So I'd say solid. He's good on that low key comedy, you know, like the hustle and flow, he's got a lane, successful TV show. So I give him that, but not good to great. No, none of them cats. Not for me. Bruno could be. You could get to great. I just need about two or three more albums, and I need to see what kind of songs he's got. I wish he came in a different era. That way we could have had that settled for good because his talent and what he can do and the way he connects. As a commentator, he's a bum. He be all over the place. I mean, he works okay in that field, but sometimes he act like he drinking. He give me Pat Summerall-ish. I'm going. He sometimes he be talking like I don't know. Strahan covers a lot of it. Bradshaw happens to be what we call he's iconic, and he has a platform because of his success as a player and his notoriety. But sometimes I just kind of shake my head with him. Just saying, you know. Cause sometimes he just like he be reading off the charts, and I don't know what he be reading. So I mean, like Troy Aikman got him beat as far as commentating, and so does Romo. Just saying. But Bradshaw's more iconic. Bradshaw got there because he came out when he did. He got a pass, and he's a country good old white boy. They would love to have Brett Favre do that, but Brett can't articulate like that. They're trying to make Aaron Rodgers like that too, low key. I think they wish Montana had been like that. Bill Sims does a pretty good job what he do, but Bradshaw's more iconic though. So, just saying. I'm still tripping about the person that came in was talking about Ali and Brandy. That cracked me up. DP. But I wonder where that came from. But that's okay though. You know. I like that though. I'm ready for anybody to come around, got their comments. As long as you can back it up, bring it. Everybody have tried to hit on Aaron Andrews, even though kind of cute face, but I never quite got the why she was like seen as this, because she let Jimmy G call her babe. Ain't made no big stink about that. They call him porno Jimmy and all that other mess. No one said nothing about that. See, it depends on how you look. Bradshaw got away with all kinds of old playing ways because you know, she still is nice. I take a young, middle aged, older. Pam's still straight and professional too. Got that hairdo, them eyes. She's still good to go. Yeah, Far would. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Yeah, they did. And I think if Aikman wasn't so corporately type white dude, he probably would have tried to make a move. If it wasn't for business, he probably would have. Probably so. I believe he would. Troy is cool, and he's a good commentator. I wasn't blown over him as a quarterback per se, but he understood his assignment. He made the most of his situation. He made himself into, you know, good, competent cat. And he's strong as a commentator. Because if he can sit there with old stiff Joe Buck, oh, I like how we're coaching, calling this game, Troy. Because old Joe Buck be sounding all stiff. Most cats do hate Skip. Well, he called Troy gay, okay? Talked about his manhood. And then he kind of, he said some stuff. So yeah, that kind of might might run some feathers. He is smart, but he's stiff. He's stiff. He's stiff. He's stiff. He's stiff. And he got that broom hand on his butt. He's like, and that's how he comes across. He's like, sure, that was a good one. Me and my boy used to cringe though when Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck with the thought of them going to Super Bowl. We said that was like Brokeback Mountain because Joe Buck and Troy were like, oh, they were just. I was like, please. I said that'd be the first Super Bowl I'd have to keep the game on mute because the slurping for Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, oh god. No, he was. I think Jeff Van Gundy strategically was good. The only thing that you might have a problem with is maybe how he calls the refs out on their jive. Mark Jackson was good, was on point. I want to disagree with you, but I'm not because he tried to thread the needle too much. And after all that crying against the Patriots about the Flake Gate, and then he came out there, and after that game, he never was the same again. So he should have shut up about the ball being flat or unflat or whatever, because his game was never the same again. And he was actually good. I remember he was in college. He was good. And he looked pretty good, but he made Robert Ursay look like a buster for getting rid of Peyton Manning for him because he didn't last before 5 years. So But he was a bum because he had like that game against Kansas City came back. He had moments when he looked great, and then he had other moments where he was terrible. He throw bad picks. He just do dumb stuff. So he was erratic. I disagree with you on both, but I respect your opinion. Kirk Cousins is a never was. And so he gets paid like a first tier guy. He flirts between like a second and third tier dude. And you don't know which tier he rolls in. So he's a no tier. And the thing is with the kind of situation he had, especially in Minnesota with Jefferson, he should be a lot better than he was and with Cook. So he is under the underachieve, but he gets paid like he's first tier. He plays like a second, third. He's a no tier. So he's not a bum. He's a never was to me. They can find a better quarterback with Dobbs right now. Just saying. Tua is solid because when you consider that Flores didn't even want him and he was going to be a never was, and then he comes up and gets this Miami team in the back postseasons and playing better than he was expected to be. But I'll say this. If he has a couple more years like this, he will be a bum and he'll eventually be a never was because he won't be in the league much longer. He'll get whacked. And he got to learn how to play the middle of the field. He can't, everything ain't all going to be down the field throwing alley down bombs. So that's the thing. But I'm going to give him a pass because he was an MVP consideration. And he's a lot better than Flores, but he wasn't utilized to his best. So now we'll see. Third year with Tyreek and Waddle, we'll see. But if he doesn't get any better than this, yeah, he'll go to bum that never was. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Burrow is good. Burrow's good. He's good. He's good. Strong white boy, got a good arm, you know, cool under pressure. He's everything that they wish Brock Purdy wants to be. That's what they wish. Because if Purdy played like Burrow, then that Super Bowl, then Purdy would be like maybe start stacking up some rings. And you would say, yeah, Burrow's got that. Chase Young is good. I like his defense. I like him. He good. Good. Could be. But I don't, again, you got to stop the ground game. They haven't done nothing. See, I like what you're saying, but Goodwill, Green Bay could have, Detroit should have beaten the 49ers. And I just got a feeling, Kansas City, you can't afford to make those kind of mental lapses. I'm saying it could get out of hand. If Mahomes gets on the good foot like James Brown and gets hot, it could be a long game. And see, because Frisco's due for a beatdown. They have not looked good. And I can't be the only one that's seeing this. They have not looked good. So could they win? Yes, they can win if they play close and they get into like But I just, you know, so they're not gonna let McCaffrey. They're gonna have a platoon on him. They'll let Purdy if they make Purdy roll out to his right and hit like that. That's where his weak spot is. He likes to roll to his left and sever the field, so they can keep him at bay. With Purdy, you want him to actually throw deep. You don't want him to because he's strong over the middle. That's his bread and butter. That's how you get a lot of broken plays. Zip and get dap. So you want to make him play quarterback. Well, the short passes is like if he gets screens and he gets a groove, but then they start running. They start doing, um, quarterback sneaks. They start doing quick. There's a lot of ways they can mix it up. So he don't turn the ball over and they keep him out there. They're going to win the game. Time of possession. If you're 49ers, you got to try to make special teams plays. You got to try to get some turnovers. You're not going to beat Mahomes if he just goes up and down and dink and dunks and then hit you. You're not. Yeah, I mean, even what I told you about Clemens when he came back with that slide when he brought when he went to Toronto and became the Yankees, he had a repertoire. He didn't just beat you with power no more. Or Pedro beat you with different things. Guys could go 8 innings, 9 innings deep. So he wasn't the same dude. He was more polished. He was more systematic. He hit his peak. All that came in. That's what the great ones do. And then he gives you a bit of that other stuff he do. And when he starts doing that other stuff he do, your butt's gonna get blowed out because he knows too many tricks of the trade to get hoodwinked. Yeah, but the difference between him and those two is that he can get you with that too. He can hit you in stride. He can hit you with angle passes in stride too. Here's what he's got over them. Rodgers had that big halo throw, and Peyton had you hitting you with that thing over your shoulders that he did so well. Brady was what I call incredible play action. And his rhythm and timing was because he could start you short, but then he could hit you down the field. He understood that rhythm. But he's one of the best. I mean, for me, because I saw Joe Montana do it with growing up. Okay, remember, I saw the West Coast offense uncut, short passes that worked the middle of the field and strive from that. But Brady's very was poised with it though. You know, but you know, all those quarterbacks were great at what they did. Aaron Rodgers had incredible arm down strength. Hit them rainbow shots. Peyton would hit you over the shoulder in those corners. The Marvin Harrison's, the way his timing was. So they all had uniqueness. But Mahomes' thing is on another level. I have to see it. Okay. Well, give me the gist of it. I'll peep it out. Let me see. I'll write that down. He probably would be. I mean, you got to remember, he won all his Super Bowls. He's kind of like the odd man out these days because um, everybody's focused on, uh, well, that's the 49ers in him. He does that. Even though, I'm going to tell you something, the 49ers didn't slurp him. They ran him out for Steve Young. They ran him out for the, that's probably why. Montana was the coolest quarterback I'd ever saw growing up. And he got ran out of because Young was more mobile. Young was like Steve Young was kind of like I want to say like the white quarterback that could move that they got this love affair for. Yeah, they had this love affair because he could move. That's what got him over. Wasn't because he had some great accuracy. Like I said before, he sucked in Tampa Bay. And he went to LA Express, USFL. I'm still a firm believer because of his family names. That's what happened. Yeah, you already said that. You know I said that. That's the reason why how they did Marcus Allen. You know, I hated that how they ran Marcus Allen. I never forgave the Raiders for that. Never forgave them for that. But yeah, but Montana, they were slurping Jimmy Garoppolo. I remember that. I remember the 49ers in the Super Bowl last time against Kansas City had a promo. and they had thanked every former 49er quarterback except for Kaepernick. And then when Jimmy G choked, I remember that. Remember that. So it's all true. Anyway, yeah, they did. But Moon was old at the time too. I remember they got him at 47. I mean, come on now. So it wasn't hard to run him out after that whole collapse against Buffalo. He was older. And it's not like they got him when he was, they got him 4 or 5 years after he had been in Canada. So, yeah, well, I remember they did that promo commercial because that's on YouTube. It was all hype because they had gone to Super Bowl against, Kansas City. And they was going to say, Jimmy G, you getting the keys next. And they kept Cap out of it. So, I remember. I want Frisco to keep that energy. Keep that energy. Now, Jimmy G's one of those cats. I called him Chachi because there was the Fonz. Fonz was the top dog. Chachi was the cousin. He was related to the Fonz, but he wasn't and he wasn't a Fonz. And that's how Jimmy G was. He did everything right except be cool. And his career was never the same. It shouldn't be after you miss Emmanuel Sanders, one of the fastest receivers I ever seen. And he still overthrew him by 7 yards on the left side. That was embarrassing. Well, they tried Trey Lance. It didn't work. In their defense, it just didn't work. He had some bad hicks in his videos. He was throwing passes, not hitting guys in stride. Athletic and can move, but he wasn't a rhythm quarterback. He needs some work. So they did try. They were gonna make a move with that. So California is racist, but they did try. It just didn't work out. That didn't work. So, and again, Kyle Shanahan been trying with different things. I'd have to see what they're working with though, but yeah. But last I checked, they had one more black quarterback than the Raiders, the Chargers have had. Just saying. Take that however you want to take it. If he don't win the Super Bowl, he is. Because there'll be 2 trips in 4 years, and then you think about those NFC championship games that he didn't get done when they lost to Philly last year, and then they lost to the Rams. So he's been to 4 NFC championship games, 2 Super Bowls, and it's like, okay, what you got to show for it? So you've been the best team in the West 2 of them years. We're gonna find out. And his quarterback's got to step up. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Well, what made his daddy overrated is that he didn't. What happened with RG3 in Washington, and then before he came to Denver, when they got Terrell Davis, which got the rings with the Broncos, he was very marginal in with the Raiders. So, and no one talks about his 2 rings with Denver really, because he stunk it up with the Washington. Like, he's been kind of like, you know, uh, Mike Shanahan gets kind of treated like Tom Flores. 2 rings don't mean the same, and there's also a lot of politics involved. Those 2 rings don't get the same shine as uh, Bill Parcells. That's true. No argument there. But you know, that was different. That was different way he bucked. He bucked anyway, but that was embarrassing. The way that thing against Seattle, because he was balling that game, and a lot of people fail to forget because it didn't last that long. He was a precursor to a lot of what you see. He came out with Cap and Russell and them, and I remember when he was in college, he balled. He balled. Yeah. Yeah, Rob Parker was right. He was a cornball brother, but he had skills. He had skills. He had skills. Man, it is a shame. So, well, that's all he got to do. I remember he was talking about Daniel Snyder being down the house from him because he had the mansion and all that. I'm like, yeah, who cares about that? You up there sticking up for some job owner who rolled his team under, did all kinds of freaky deaky stuff, and they ran your career off. I mean, like, come on, man. But he was too happy. He too happy, you know. So we don't even talk about him. I see him. He makes a couple comments, and only because I remember his college career and the promise of his NFL career first. That's the only reason why I acknowledge him. Other than that, I don't talk about him. I got more memories of Jay Williams, and he did more in college than what. Yeah, yeah, you're not gonna get an argument there. But see, Michael Irvin was bought and paid for when he went to Miami with Jimmy Johnson, so that ain't nothing. Emmett is selective when he bucks. But I will say this about Emmett: he did hold out against him after they won the Super Bowl, and Jerry Jones had to get off that money. I remember that. You know, he did hold out for his money, but they selective. Emmett's selective with it. But Michael Irvin, yeah, he can't wait. He's he can't wait. He ready to grin and be happy and high. And he almost got ran off the road for something he didn't even do. Because that whole white girl made that big old deal about that thing at that hotel was way more than that was. I don't know what's worse, that or what Cuba Gooding Jr.'s went through. Not really. Not really. Because they're entertainers, man. You gotta understand. They play for Dallas. Very few cats is gonna get up there and really show what they really feel. Cause that money and that networking is like signing an oath. Cats. And plus in Emmett Smith's case, let's be realistic. He was light in terms of, size wise, and he happened to be a great fit. But he wasn't going to, playing for Dallas did wonders for him. Because imagine if his career had have been with Arizona like it ended. You wouldn't have remembered him. That's a fact. So he played with the he used and capitalized, and he got to do Dancing with the Stars. A lot that he did. I respect him. I just don't look at him as a top five running back. But can't take nothing for his toughness. He was tough. I don't look at him as a bum. I look at him as a never was. Before you tell me he got an Oscar and his roles, no one sits around talking about his career. So show me the money. He got a memorable line, not a memorable movie. Not because of him. Now he's getting settled by that white girl. That's sad. But his career, I like his brother better. Omar gives me more rings than Cuba. Cuba had crossover, but could be in a buck dance to get you in the bum category as entertainer. No, because they two different entities. Because if you bucking, we still gonna call you out separately. You a bum, that means you had potential to be great regardless. Bucking and shuffling and appeal in entertainment, as far as like entertainers, is different than say like sports because in the entertainment field, you gotta really have the T to understand who was shuffling to get their role. Like case in point, Lena Horne bucked and downplayed her blackness in stormy weather. But some people didn't think she was much of a singer, and she was a decent actress, but because of her looks, she got bigger because of her complexion. So that's a bit, it's a bit stretch how you go with that. Some people thought Sammy Davis Jr. bucked, but he was a great entertainer. See how I did that? So it's a different situation. Um, they all do a lot of acting though. No, they all because this is okay. So in politics, let me address that one. They all buck dance. They all do. And if you represent one party, well, yeah, when you represent a party, you are promoting agenda. When you promote an agenda, you're trying to appeal. And when you're trying to appeal, you'll do whatever it takes. That's how they buck. Joe Biden bucks just like Donald Trump bucks. They trying to get black votes. Biden wants to go with Claiborne out of South Carolina and get the black vote out the church. Trump wants to get Tim Scott, get the black vote, get us a type of happy good Negro. That's bug dancing, white style. They're using types. Yeah, she did. She did. Downplay the blackness, crossover, mulatto. She did. She wasn't gonna do like Josephine Baker and go to France and dance with bananas on the backside. So she tried to play off. He got his he got his wake up call multiple times because he married the German girl, and then the mafia said they're gonna glass out his other eye. He took the Jewish oath. Well, LL had gotten his wake up call long ago. It's just that he took it because he's where he's at, and plus he signed himself over to be an MC on these networks. You gotta remember something. You don't get to host Grammy Award shows and MC these things without shuffling. They don't give you nothing like that. He's not even the most articulate rapper ever, but he has enough of a presence that people, middle America, made him comfortable. You like LL. I think that would have probably have worked up until probably answer your question, probably bigger and deafer up in '89 when Brenda's got a big old butt with that. But when he did Mama Said Knock You Out and all that, he wasn't too black no more. He wasn't too black because they had him doing the Robin Williams movie, and then in the house, him and Rafonso Roberto. So he got Will Smith's sloppy seconds. No, no, he wasn't scary. He wasn't scary. I remember it very well. He had a lot of white fans. He wasn't scary. It's not like Melly Mel. Melly Mel, you say that about? I'll give you that. Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, I'll give you that. Melly Mel had a scary perm. I'll give you that. LL don't scare white folks. He stopped being scary probably when Brenda got a big old butt and all that came out. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did roast Carlton Banks. Did do that. I forgot all about that. I did that one. But now LL ain't been scary. LL was always crossover. He more pop. He he can actually make the case that in some ways he was bought and paid for in a way because the way he went at Cool Mo D. And in hindsight, he couldn't hang with Mo D like that, not on them lyrics, but that was street cred. Okay, I'm gonna address this. We're gonna do the scared white folks. That's what we should be doing video. You want to talk about you like going there? We should do a whole segment about this. Not really. He was more scary before he went to death row. When he went to death row, he had blackness to him, but he had crossover appeal. I think up until uh yeah, we should do that. We'll do that. He was a poet and he had a broadness of blackness about him. But when he got to death row, he was like a character. I don't think he was quite as scary in death row. He spoke out a lot on certain things, but I don't think it wasn't as scary as he was prior to that. I think the early stages of his career, he was more scarier. And then the lore of him got more. Fox, I think is part to a certain extent, but not really. He had crossover appeal, but he had black appeal. He was big black, you know. White folks knew him and they could tolerate deal with him because they knew what he was about. There was no secret. But I can't say that he was not when you have an iconic TV show. You can't be but so scared. Not like that. And but he was very black. Let's get it no twisted because his type of style was only going to work in a certain type of movie. It was not going to get a lot of fanfare. Yes, it is. This is fun. Not really. Not really. Not really. I don't think her hair was scary. Nothing about Donna Ross scared white folk because they kept her in place. She wanted it. She wanted the love. She wanted the Streisand love. They didn't give it to her. She was big black crossover, big black pop. Supremes were big, and she had movies and she had success, but she was still a black pop cross. But did she get like? Did she have like the kind of run that Donna Summer had situated? No. She tried real hard though. I believe the Aretha gospel era was scary. I think that the Aretha got certain aspects of her was certain, but overall not really. But she was definitely a black thing. She was respected. I don't know if she scared them though, but she she had moments. They didn't like her candor. Let's say that she was very candid. Chestnut, he's a never was. I'm sorry, but when we talk about a couple of his movies, then what else do we got? You're gonna tell me the best man, he's more memorable than Terrence Howard? Ricky. I mean, he had the look imagery to be right there with Wesley, maybe, black leading man, but it was made for TV. He never hit beyond. Because a lot of his roles were cookie cutter, you know. So he had a chance, but it didn't happen. I mean, Omar Epps got more of a leading man role than Morris Chestnut, and Chestnut would look like the black leading man role, but Chestnut, and I'm just saying. So he's a never was to me. I like him all right, but I didn't see no great depths in him. I just don't think he really went past much. With Vanessa Williams, the former Miss America and everything, now she's a solid to me. See, this is the thing. She, because of what she went through 40 years ago with Penthouse, had the music career, the successful TV career, the Broadway career, the picture, versatile. So she won. She won. She's in the solid to me. She's solid. Not quite good because there was some corny stuff. I'll give you corny. But no, I gotta say she's a solid. Because that too many black or white people could go through what she did and come back if you knew her story. Especially in the 80s, the squeaky clean 80s, to do Penthouse and still, despite getting from Miss America pageant, and still have a career where she did TV, film, stage, music. That's a dub. She's a dub. Lizzo, for me, has some talent, but right now she's a never was. I don't really see the thing about her. I don't see it. I mean, she plays the uh, violin. She got some, Prince she worked with Prince, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. Don't feel it. Umar, Umar. He makes some interesting statements, Sometimes I think him and Questlove are like third distant cousins or something. But anyway, and that one brother that was singing a few years ago, I can't think of his name, had that kind of afro too. I can't think of his name right now. Um, so if you call him a bum articulate wise, you're basically saying he has moments where he could be great, he could be really good, but sometimes he just average and lazy. That's what I will say about that. I don't really talk about other creators too much on here because I want to be respectful because there's things I agree with, things I don't. I'm sure that's how they feel about me if they do, if they even know who I am or mess with my style. But he's interesting in some aspects, and some aspects I agree, some I don't. So I'm kind of like, I'll give Umar a solid because there's things I agree with, things I don't. Hit and miss. But unless he jumps it off where he turns it into maybe like a Kevin Samuel meets Harris Smiley meets somebody, takes it to a debate where it gets quite profound. I can't quite go there. So I was gonna say he's solid, you know. Caitlyn Jenner's a never was. I mean, looks like a broke version of Melania Trump. Um, and just there. And got hoodwinked, if you ask me, because thought there was gonna be gender neutralized bathrooms, got lied to, and just seems to be, I mean, I would say the former Bruce was a great athlete. White boy could run. Caitlyn's a never was. I don't even, and I don't even think Caitlyn had to leave the house to be with Chris Jenner because Chris already knew it wasn't no biggie. But had some bad women too, because David Foster's ex-wife was married to Jenner. Had some bad women, some bad women. Not Chris Jenner though. She's sloppy seconds, third. But the former Bruce had some bad women. First two, so yeah. Timber Fake, he's a never was to me because he only had one album. I think '06 that was peaking his prime with Sexy Back and all that. And that was it. He didn't really work on his vocals. His songwriting is suspect. And, he jacked black culture, which helped him, but he just seems like a lounge act that tries too hard, marginal moves. Just not that deep. And just not you know, just don't really see it. Whoopi falls under, I'm not a fan, but falls under good. You gotta remember, Whoopi started off doing stand-up, did stage, made albums, movies, TV shows, household name. I'm not even big on Whoopi, but Whoopi, came up big, big things, you know. And Whoopi's like one of the few that tap dances, but yet you listen and you kind of look. It's kind of like Whoopi's a strange creation like that. Okay, so I'll have her time I see Kate image being his. Yeah, I really don't really touch about Caitlyn Jenner. Because if you were Caitlyn or you Bruce, you did kill that woman in LA on that highway, texting. One side of you, male or female, one of you should be locked up. Just saying. Caitlin Clark is bad. I mean, she's shooting. I think she's going to be doing the 3-point contest with Steph, but it's a different era. I can't compare a woman's player today to what I saw with Cheryl Miller. That was a different era. In fact, Cheryl was one of those people I wish she could have gotten to play in that era. Because if you didn't get to see Cheryl Miller, I make the case that Cheryl was better than Reggie. I make that case to this day. Cheryl was bad. Maya Moore was too, and Cynthia Cooper. I mean, it's just different. I mean, you come along an era where shooting threes is a big deal, and accuracy, that's a big deal. But they're going by because she's along now where they're selling to more of a different era. I get what they're trying to do and what they're saying. I don't condone it, but I understand it because they have to hype up the machine. They, you know, she can shoot. Give me some names and I'll address that. It's a different day and time because we had these discussions. If you go back, you know, it's different. It's different. It's different. And you really are going to be called, get off my lawn, old, or seen this way, you know. But this is what they do. The networks don't even qualify to call sports anymore. They call based on popularity more than ever. Oh yeah, well, because Trey's seen as a broke version of Steph. Harden is seen as a guy who could be in that, could have been in that two guard. He had this, and he actually was the worst thing at the right time because they wanted a foreign cat to Euro step and do all that. He did everything right. He just didn't win. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. But that's what sells the game. That's what Adam Silver wants. And they want Luca to be the foreign Larry Bird. That's what they want. I can diss the players, but you know who I diss more than anybody? I'm one of the few people that if you come to my channel, I'm gonna diss Adam Silver. I diss these commissioners because these sorry excuses for owners pimp them and tell them that's what we want. It used to, but you don't live in that era no more. Because after, for better or for worse, when Steph changed the game, everybody got to shoot threes. It's like Oprah with a car. Everybody got to do the same thing. And you still operating out of that status quo right now. You still operating out of that. But that's what Adam Silver wants his game to be. See, it's not even about one player or two players. It's about, now don't get it twisted. A great player catches on, he becomes a way in a system. However, that's what the powers that be want. They don't want the game to ever be like he remembered it. And it's more sexy and appealing to have it a certain way. Yeah, but they came in a different era. They came in a different era. You gotta remember when they played. Kobe caught the last end of a dominant big. Okay, that's the reason why he didn't get to do it. That's why. You gotta remember he played with Shaq and he had Duncan on the side, and you had other guys that were playing big. There's a different physicality. It's not the same. If you see a cat the last 10, 15 years, he ain't gonna know what that's like. He ain't gonna know what that's like. So and that's in the player's defense, but that's what the powers that be wanted. That's what they wanted. They wanted it to be a certain way. They got the game they want. Heck no. Because we have to have a superstar. And we can't have 2.5 really good to very good players. We got to have a superstar. If we had a superstar that could bust your behind and you had to watch, then yes. We don't have a superstar on our team. We have guys who play really hard, and Jimmy Butler's in that very good, close to great, not quite. Bam plays out of his mind, overachieves, but he ain't great. Plays hard. You don't have a Dwayne Wade on this team. So without a Dwayne Wade, it's no need to get Donovan Mitchell. You got to have what I call an alpha. We don't have alphas. He ain't no alpha though. He good at spurts. He ain't great for long sustained time because he ain't the one to carry the team. You think Tyler Hero's something? Put him with Jokic and get back to me. Then he would be scary because he doesn't take it to another level. He's what I call a subtle happy camper. It's a guy that's a settler. He plays good. Like Duncan Robinson shows me some toughness at times, but Duncan Robinson's a bench man. He's not meant to be a starter. I have to be tough on Hero because he came out last year and said, I'm as good as Trey Young, I'm as good as this guy. But then he'll take some real asinine shots, try to play hero ball. And I'm gonna be real with you. He would be scary if we had an alpha low post player. We had a great player, he'd be scary. That's why. Plus, I'm gonna tell you something. I came along when I saw Shaq having Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott. That's who he would have been in another life. He would have been a perimeter, hitting those shots in the corner, getting fed. He's athletic and he makes himself a better player, but I don't see no growth there. I don't see anything that tells me that he merits the hype because he's not better than Jimmy Butler. Even though Jimmy can be Jimmy sometimes in halftime. So, well, he's a never was because he's never going to really play for you because he doesn't fit. You know, they were hoping that he hit some shots and be streaky against Denver. That's why they got him. But what they got him for was his athleticism, his quickness, his hustle. But he doesn't, he's not a good fit for y'all. That's the problem. He was a gym rat cat who worked hard, had hustle in him. I'd say he'd be like a triple broke Tony Parker type. You know, or Patty Mills type. One of those cats that when Popovich had top tier cats, cat like that come off the bench, you'd be scared of him. But left to his own devices, not much. So the Lakers made a bad mistake there. He doesn't fit. Wouldn't be surprised if they part with him. You know, they're not gonna fire him. He's not the problem. They just gotta get consistency. What their problem is that they gotta work around probably unloading LeBron and build around AD. They gotta see if this gonna work. Because if it don't work, they gotta get rid of both. That's the nut in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell. You know, that's in a nutshell. He'd only get fired if they thought there was somebody hot shot that was worthy. And they'd have to go in a different direction because he's gone big in meeting. He's had to deal with ego and, so so that's my thoughts on that though. He should be better. He should be in the same class with Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid. He's talented as, but he's too half-hearted, and he just a settler. He's happy he got that ring. He's happy he's got Clutch Sports, and he's got LA, and he's getting paid, and that's as good as it gets. Oh, he been called him out. He just he calls him out more than you think. He calls him out a lot more than you think. Cause all he do is growl and yowl. He yells and screams. CAD spends most of his time in street clothes, looking like a 7'2" version of Prince. That's what he reminded me with the shades on, like he be posing over there. And he start playing Little Red Corvette or something over there when I see AD because he be up there modeling. hair all done and shades on and all that. But his game, and see, that's the thing. Without LeBron, oh, you can take a lot of people over him, but you shouldn't, but you will. Just it's a waste of skills. Now, see, that's a waste of talent right there. Because that guy can shoot outside, inside, block shots, rebounds, all that. He just half-hearted. That's a bum, a real bum. The face of bum, if you must know, is AD. But you see, he's got that if I feel like it, I will, and if I don't, I won't. Ain't no counter to it because he should be better than he is, and he can't lead that team. And that's why Durant's upset because Durant looks for someone to take over, and he's not the dude. Ain't no counter to it. See? So he is a bum. Those are back to back bums. Y'all nailed it on him too. They both should be way better than they are. Booker can't take nothing from Durant. If he had Durant's natural skill set with the way he gets access to the hole, he'd be a scary force. But that guy that scored 70 against Boston a few years ago, what happened in the finals against Milwaukee? Talk all that trash, all that acting. No one worries about Book. Just like they don't worry about AD. They bought and paid for it. Those guys are settlers. He's a never was. At least with Booker and AD, I can say they could be great. Zach Levine is just a stat patter who highlight reel for some slam dunks. There's nothing memorable about his game. Not at all. Not at all. He's just one of those guys that, because people who like the stat pad era will work at him because of his athleticism. They don't even ask him his basketball IQ. They just like the fact that he's athletic. Yeah, he should be better than he is. He settles for being good to really good, and then it just doesn't really jibe. I'm kind of nonplussed with him. I really am. Because part of me would think he would get traded and go somewhere and showcase his skills. And then I just see him, he's kind of flat. He's always been kind of like, could put up numbers. No, I like Mike Conley was solid. He never was a great player, but he's solid. I give him a solid. He had to score a little bit more, but I always thought he was solid what he did. I didn't have no expectations for him. You know, if he goes below 17, 16 points, 14 points, then yeah. But I would not say that about him. Because I didn't have expectation for him. But DeRozan, yeah, should have been better. Booker, AD, yeah. DeRozan, yeah. Zach Levine's a never was, and Conley's more of a solid. He's never was to me because I mean, I'm shocked he's still in the NBA too because I just thought he was a guy who looked like he was going to be in there really good athletically, but didn't really see a lot to his game. But he does enough because of reputation. Been around long enough and he kind of stay healthy. And if you stick around, they keep you around for whatever reason. But he was solid, could score. Just the victim of the retirement. If he came out today, he'd be scarier. Shoot, if he played with Golden State today, he'd be, oof, God. Just the timing. One of them guys that had a nickname back then. When you had a nickname back in the day, you were legit. Okay, that should answer your question right there. If you ever hear about a guy pre 1990 with a nickname, Not Harold Miner being Baby Jordan, because that was a fraud. That was worse than Millie Vanilli. But pre 1990 with a nickname, you were legit. People used to get that one right back then. They used to get that one right. You earned a nickname back then. Not what they did after they've done the last 30 years with that mess. So, but he would be scary today. Yeah. Solid. Gave you a solid game. He was a solid dude. Was solid. Solid dude. I liked him. I liked his game. He Hard was more flashy in Atlanta and solid in Portland. You know, one of the guys who could score. He was solid. You know, he's a great commentator. I'll give you that. I like his articulation. He's good. He's good. I'm gonna get up in about 3 minutes because it's getting. I'll do a couple more, then I'll go about 2 3 minutes. Come back tomorrow. I bought his book. As a rebounder, he was decent. I wasn't like blown away by him. He used to talk about Jordan being Black Jesus and all that. I thought that was a bit much, and he he was alright. For his time, for what he was. You know, Not gonna sit there and tell you that he was. You know, I don't know if he merited getting a book named after him. A book. Because that's like saying that he was. You know, but he was. He was. He was alright. He was alright. Different era, different time though. Can't compare because again, what a center, what a power player was then is not what it became. So just saying, different time. He was okay. Just okay. So all right. I'm gonna call it a night. Good talking to y'all cats. Appreciate everything. Appreciate everybody that came through. Peace and the best. Be back tomorrow. Stay warm, stay safe. We catch you. I'm out. Peace.